Congratulations to Tony Portolan picking up the win there. Let's take a look at our bracket now, Corey, and see how the cards have fallen thus far in our quarterfinals here at Pro Tour. Lorwyn Eclipsed.
These are how the cards have fallen and how the Cubs have fallen. There are no more Cubs here into the top 4, which is a very big dramatic story as well. But we see Tony going to be facing the winner of Marco and Luis Salvatto, which we're going to figure out here very shortly. And of course, the finals between the winner of Christopher Larson and Eduardo.
Alrighty, here we go, our final quarterfinal. It is Luis Salvatto playing Demir Excruciator, representing Team Cosmos Heavy Play, up against Marco Belacca, who brought a sweet Jeskai control deck here this weekend, representing the Italians. Luis Salvatto, tell us about this list here, Corey.
Absolutely. I mean, this deck is the coolest. We saw it in the hands of Christopher Larson as well. This is the only deck that had 2 copies in the top 8 of this Pro Tour. Nobody would have guessed that going into that. I don't care who you are, except maybe the players that played this deck. We are trying to play Doomsday Excruciator, flip over the deck and leave only 6 cards, and then attack with the Restless Reefs to be able to mill out your opponent, or of course, just play some value creatures as well. So.
On the other side of things, Marco Belacca, our overnight leader on day number 1, undefeated player, playing Jeskai Control, another very, underrepresented list, but a good call here for the weekend thus far. Tell us about this one.
Jeskai Control, Azorius Control both had great weekends as well, and this is the classic definition of control, trying to kill all your opponent's creatures with Day of Judgments, Ultimas, as well as have a plethora of counter spells to be able to interact. It's a draw go deck that plays Jeskai Revelation as the win con.
Well, those are the decks. These are the players. We're going to jump into the Magic, but not before we hear from both of them who spoke to Cedric.
I'm joined by Luis Salvatto. Luis, how you feeling about your top 8 matchup this morning?
Well, I'm feeling great. I think it's a good matchup for me. Also, more games post-Cyber means more duress to cast. So, feeling good.
Okay, looking forward to watching you play. Good luck. I'm here with Marco Belacca. Marco, how do you feel about your top 8 matchup?
It's not easy. The pre-sideboard game it's fine, and post-sideboard is much more difficult. So to win, I need to win pre-sideboard and still 1 game post-sideboard.
Good luck this morning.
Thank you.
Well, he said it. He has to win both of the pre-sideboarded games to stand a chance against this deck, because post-sideboard, Luis gets hold of plenty of hand disruption spells, duresses, whatever he wants. He's got a couple of deceits as well in this list. So let's jump into this quarterfinals. Let's see how things stand as we join and see who our final semi-finalist is gonna be. Both players locked in, ready to rock and roll. We join in game 3, and would you know it, Marco Belacca has done what he needed to do and is up 2-0.
We saw Luis Salvatto against Marco in the round that Salvatto clinched the top 8, and there was a big difference in that match. Well, he only played 1 pre-board game. Essentially has to win 3 games now instead of winning both post-board games. But the plethora of duresses and a bunch of hand disruptions, Quantum Riddler, all that stuff makes it so much better for our 2017-2018 Player of the Year.
Luis was so stoked when he made the top 8. You could just tell. Deceit now getting to take a look at the hand here. What is the biggest threat in this hand, Corey?
Yeah, so we've seen Salvatto prioritize taking the Jeskai Revelations at most stages of the game, but this early on, where it is the first removal spell, you usually want to take the card that is unique, the card that kind of presents the first problem, and that would really be stock up here. So that would make a lot of sense to me. Sure, you can cast Consult the Star Charts for 2 and just have that little look at the top 2, put 1 into your hand, but not something Salvatto is going to be worried about right away. So I'm definitely taking the stock up here.
There's certainly, little windows of opportunity for Luis, to find other answers for what's in hand there. So Deceit taking the immediate problem in stock up, which gets you the most value. Consult the Star Charts is a later problem, but that right there is a big, big problem.
Oh, wow. Torpor Orb off the top is huge. The one thing Demir is not great at is removing artifacts, and, Salvatto's every single creature has a come into play ability in some regard. Deceit, Doomsday Excruciator, Harvester, Superior Spider-Man can put something into play, but here is the counter to that. You can just evoke out Deceit. Sure, you don't get any of the abilities anymore, but it is a 2-mana 5/5 that stays. So Torpor Orb giveth and Torpor Orb taketh for sure.
That is such a funny interaction.
It is, yeah.
But now, Marco, okay, sure, fine. There's a massive creature on the board. But now, Stock Up gets to resolve. Also found that off the top of the library, right?
Yeah.
There weren't 2 in hand,
That
so...
was the 2 draws, so...
Yeah, one more. Yeah,
You know, I mean, you can't Thoughtseize the top of the deck is kind of what they say, and that those 2 draws from Marco are going really, really good. And when we saw these 2 play in the Swiss, the one thing that didn't happen, I mean, Salvatto had the same kind of starts, rip apart your hand, rip apart your hand. The one big difference there is Marco kind of drew what, in air quotes, is to be expected, just a bunch of lands or something at key moments.
Get to take a look again. Duress number 2 here, in inverted commas. Deceit doing the first bit of hand disruption, so... Take a look at the options for Luis. There's a Day of Judgment, there's Jeskai Revelation, and Get Lost, as well as
saw
Consensus.
in Salvatto's hand a Superior Spider-Man, so there's one option to be able to take the Day of Judgment, play Superior Spider-Man, have 2 5/5s, and just hope that's good enough.
Swing for the fences, yeah.
Exactly. You know, not the absolute greatest plan. The other plan is you could just like Get Lost and hope that Marco doesn't find a 4th land, or of course you could go long-term plan and take the Revelation.
I do think he's got Elegant Parlor.
Oh,
in
yep,
his
that
hand.
is just
yeah,
pulled
he just
down,
pulled
yep.
it down, as it's not an option.
Still a tap land, so
Still
at
tapped,
least,
yeah.
you know, that is one extra turn.
Yeah, it's a turn to pressure some damage in, so Get Lost, keep the creature that's on board in action for 1 more turn at the very least.
So what this is really telling me is Salvatto is never going to overextend here,
Yeah.
aka play that Superior Spider-Man next turn on 2nd Deceit.
Found an untapped land.
It's just going to be the classic attack with this, you deal with it, play another. You deal with that, play another. Because we do see the Doomsday Excruciator, which will not have the come into play ability, which is unlike any come into play ability here in Standard of removing libraries from the game, but the ability to draw 2 cards still remains on that card.
Intimidation Tactics is in Luis's hand. That's a dead card in this matchup for the most part, right? Unless you have it on turn 1 and you hit a Torpor Orb.
Yeah, and I think that is the respect to Torpor Orb. Like,
Jeez.
I mean, there's Kyoshi, the Unagi
Kyoshi
Island.
yeah.
That's another hit. But yeah, totally agree. Whenever we saw that from Luis Salvatto pre-board in the Swiss, we cycled it. So that's kind of telling.
Yeah, yeah. At least it has a cycle ability.
Yeah.
So we can tell you for game 3, taken out for Luis was 3 Harvest of Misery, 1 Superior Spider-Man, Arch Enemy's Charm, Requiting Hex, all of them, and 2 Deadly Cover-Up. He brought in 4 Duresses, a Cruel Claws Heist, Shoot the Sheriff, 3 Quantum Riddler, and a Negate.
Absolutely, and we did just see the cycle there of the Intimidation Tactics. So Torpor Orb doesn't shut down the ability to be able to make one of your creatures, but there's really no point because it would just be a 4/4 Deceit.
Yeah.
So Salvatto's just like, it's a 4/4 Superior Spider-Man now, but let's say we saw a Quantum Riddler in the yard.
Yeah, that would actually have a static effect.
Exactly, you could exile that and have that going, but Salvatto doesn't want to remove his own creatures from the graveyard.
For Marco's side of things, he wasn't super jazzed about the post-sideboard games. He took out an Abrade, 4 Lightning Helix, and 2 Ultima. Brought in 2 Tishana's Tidebinders, 2 Torpor Orbs, an Exorcise, the Unagi of Kyoshi Island, and a River Churn Monument.
Makes sense to me. The River Churn Monument is
Could
huge
be big, could be
when
big,
you lose
yeah.
the library, so
Doomsday Excruciator hits the board and does nothing.
that middle section of text, remove that. That no longer exists with Torpor Orb, but now you have a 6/6 flyer that says at the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card.
Yeah.
Which is very strong now. So this is I think this is going to be a classic moment for Marco. Can I consult the star charts and just flip over Day of Judgment and probably lock up a semifinals berth with that big of an exchange? And if not, probably heading to game number 4. And of course, for anyone that didn't remember, Luis Salvatto ended up taking down Seth Manfield, our reigning world champion, in the Player of the Year the tie when they tied to playoff to see who actually gets it in 2017 and 2018. One of only 2 players to ever tie and win Player of the Year in that way, which is really, really cool.
That's sweet. You gotta figure it out some way, huh? You can't share the prize. Consult the star charts. Taking a look, there's Shauna's Tidebinder and a whole lot of land.
I think we saw this last time against Salvatto where Marco made this judgment call of, should I just kick Consult the Star Charts, get 2 cards, or just cast it and try to find No More Lies?
Yeah.
And that time it backfired as he didn't find it. And this time, it's kind of the same story as no More Lies, no Day of Judgment. Doomsday Excruciator is going to resolve. We just picked up a land. And now we got 5 more looks at Day of Judgment for Marco to be a huge in the driver's seat here.
Out there.
And if not, this game is likely just over because, well, we're going to have Doomsday Excruciator, a 4/4 Superior Spider-Man, and then the land to be able to get animated, the Restless Reef there, to attack.
Yeah, certainly enough. You need to deal with both these creatures on the board, and that hand is not going to cut it.
One thing we very much might see is there is a Tishana's Tidebinder in hand from Marco. So
Stop the land?
stops the land and chumps the Superior Spider-Man and goes to 1.
Sure. I guess that is a thing that could happen.
I mean, if any deck comes back when you go to 1 life, it's a control deck.
Yes, for sure.
So here's
The only
stock
life
up.
that matters is the last life, so.
Go home
There-
without any game wins.
Salvatto just utters nothing again, and that looked to be nothing again. So that
He
means
used his one time, Corey.
it sure did, but that is the one thing that those selections didn't look great, but the play I was mentioning earlier, play land 6. I don't believe we've played a land this turn.
No, we haven't.
Play land 6, Tishana's Tidebinder, the land, and go from there. As long as Marco doesn't Tidebinder the Doomsday Excruciator ability in the upkeep.
Oh, yeah.
Because that would
wanna
shut
do
off.
that.
That would shut off the flying.
I mean, Restless Reef was the first thing on the board, so I imagine that's his target here.
and Marco has to Tidebinder that.
Okay.
Huh.
Opted not to go for it, so Luis picks up a win here. Can he reverse sweep here in the quarterfinals?
Oh yeah, of course. Torpor Orb shuts down the Tidebinder, so that was
Oh,
not
yeah,
an
it does.
option.
Sure
Yep,
does.
Of
Yeah,
course, of course, of course. Okay.
Torpor Orb giveth and Torpor Orb taketh away,
Yep.
as you mentioned.
Torpor Orb is a universal effect. There's just usually not a lot of come into play abilities from the Jeskai side. So, yep, Salvatto, of course, had that locked up.
Nice. All right, Luis. Here we go. Restless Reef to start things off once again. Marco Belacca. 2 lands in play. Interaction plenty from what we could quickly glean there. Deceit wants to take a look, and Normalize says, no thank you. Get out of here. Land off the top. Plays Hallowed Fountain. Tapped. Has a Get Lost in hand there as well, if anything does resolve. Stock up is allowed, so... Let's go and sculpt the hand a bit more here for Luis.
And the No More Lies was big. You know, normally Deceit, if you're just, having a duress style of effect and you get a counterspell or it gets countered, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But No More Lies exiling it is a big deal for the interaction with Superior Spider-Man.
You know, it's great against all of the graveyard decks this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else? We've got the Quarry Mountain Monastery. We've got the Get Out. And another land, I think I saw Plains too.
Yep, still a solid hand. Looking like we're going to see a nice long game. But Marco, looks like we might have been on the mulligan a little bit. Only 4 cards in hand there. Spell Snare, Get Lost, 2 lands. Not a very strong hand at all. And yep, there we go. We see the mulligan to 6. And, well...
Asking questions.
How many 4-mana 4/4 do-nothing creatures are we going to see from Luis Salvatto? This is not a deceit. This is just what the card says. And makes a lot of sense. Salvatto just has another Superior Spider-Man in hand. So just trying to play to the board. Now, that was a Torpor Orb off the top as well, I think. And Salvatto's deck is not this Dimir control deck. You know, it is a Dimir tap-out deck. More closely resembles that than actual Dimir control like we saw from Nassif Reduke this weekend.
See Luis Salvatto deciding what he wants to do with this turn. Has Insatiable Avarice in hand. Has another Spider-Man, so he says, you know what, I might as well. Let's get this out there. Restless Reef for land for turn, and the turn passes back.
Marco prioritizing
Ooh, hello.
Quarry Mountain Monastery instead of playing the Torpor Orb, and that was good.
I kind of wish he'd drawn that, though, yeah.
That was good kind of luck, in air quotes there from Marco, not having it the other way around. Drew the Jeskai Revelation and Quarry Mountain Monastery the Day of Judgment. That was the other order. You don't get to, of course, play that. And Day of Judgment into Torpor Orb at least prevents not having libraries right now. So that was a huge hit from Marco.
Oh my goodness. Doomsday Excruciator now presenting a clock here for Luis Salvatto. We did see one more piece of removal in the form of Jeskai Revelation, so bouncing that back to hand. Gain some life, make some critters, draw some cards.
Yeah, and the type of game that Marco was talking with Cedric here before, 14. I need to steal, I think is the word that Marco said, steal a game in the post board, and this feels like the start of how you do it.
Yep.
I mean, that was a huge tempo loss for Salvatto, playing a 6-drop that does nothing until you draw your extra card or get some damage in, and then Marco playing a spell that gets to draw him 2 cards, bounces it, all this kind of stuff is a huge tempo play for Marco. 3
reefs now on board here for Luis.
Yep.
Marco does have a Normalize in hand, so...
And another Jeskai Revelation, though. That's the main thing.
Nice.
Marco can just go bounce Excruciator, 4 more damage to the face, 2 more Monks, attack for 4, put Salvatto down to 6, and that might be insurmountable. That really might be too much for our 2017-2018 Player of the Year to come back from here.
You don't really think you need to deal with the creature attack here for Luis Salvatto, but he's going to have to find a way to answer these Monks now. Goes down to 6, like you mentioned, Corey, and Marco is firmly in the driver's seat here. What can Luis pull out?
Deadly Cover-Up. That's really the thing that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Deadly Cover-Up, and then exile the cards in your graveyard. Get rid of the remaining Jeskai Revelations. Yeah. It might be Cover-Up or Bust here. There can be a Harvester as well.
I think he took all those out.
Oh, no!
No, that's not it.
Shoot the Sheriff on one of the Monks. All Marco has to do is cast 2 spells here, and that is going to be enough.
Revelation again. Marco Belacca picking up the win here in the quarterfinals. Luis Salvatto putting up an excellent fight, but Marco Belacca playing Jeskai control, able to pull it out there.
I mean, what an incredible result there from Marco. Also, you just really got a feel for Marco. Went 11-1 at one point, lost 3 win-and-ins in a row, had 1 last win-and-in, got there, now makes it into the top 4. What an incredible performance. And now in the top 4 for anyone keeping track. 4 different decks.
Absolutely. You love to see it. Congratulations to Marco. We now have our semifinalists decided, friends. We're going to take a short break, and Maria and the desk are going to set us up for those. Don't go anywhere.